It is indeed a very, very blessed Thursday, another beautiful day indeed that the Lord has made, and we are definitely going to rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome, welcome to another great, great episode of Living Precepts. As you know, every Thursday I get to, introduce to you great, great authors from our country here, from South Africa. And today I happen to have one of those great, amazing authors who has a very extensive background, I must say, a very, very, very interesting profile and a very interesting CV. And so we're going to get to know her up close and personal. She goes by the name of Portia TWALA. What an amazing, power packed woman. Indeed, I read her profile and I was just so fascinated by what I saw on her profile. She's a very respected attorney. She's an admitted attorney. She has served as an attorney since March 2003. So you can tell that she's been, a very, very hands-on in her career. And she has not only been an attorney, she's been also a state advocate of high court. You can tell this woman is loaded. And post her legal practice, she has since practiced as a compliance professional on the banking sector for the past 14 years. Isn't that amazing? And she looks so young, you know, for her to be having such an extensive experience, she's also respected. She's a respected subject matter expert in compliance risk management and has held leadership roles as the head of compliance. So as you can tell just by briefly reading her profile, the woman is loaded. The woman is just power packed. And I have her here with me right here on the screen. Hi, Sis Posh.
Hello, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Welcome to Living Precepts with me, Naomi Wesi. We look forward to having a great time with you on this segment. Hey?
Thank you so much, Naomi, and I appreciate the excellent introduction that you put out.
Yeah, it's what you gave me though. I hope I was right on point. I didn't say anything that was out.
Spot
But
on.
you're quite an amazing woman. You are quite a fascinating woman, I must say. Reading your profile, looking at you, how young you still are, and having accomplished all these things, it's just inspirational, I must say. How have you been able to maneuver your career and being able to do so many things, you know, and looking so young, I must say.
Yeah. First of all, I'm just going to grab the compliment of looking young.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's just good genes, I can say. 1972, babe. So
Okay.
on here for too long, hey? So, yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
so you don't look your age.
Yeah, 1050 last year. So yeah, it tells you how far I've gone.
Really? Oh
Ah,
my goodness.
yeah.
No, you
So
must be taking very good care of yourself for you
yeah,
to be looking that young at the age of 50.
yeah.
No, no. There must be something that you are doing. You need to give us a recipe of what exactly you're doing to keep yourself this
I
beautiful and young.
I promise you, I can only thank my mother for the beauty and the great genes that
Yeah. And the great genes that you've been blessed with, right?
blessing indeed.
Yeah, yeah. So give us a brief of your background for those of our viewers who don't know who Portia Twala is
Yeah,
and where you hail from, a little bit of your background, where you come from, and who is really Portia Twala.
yeah. So yeah, I was born and bred in Soweto. That's where I grew up, in White City, Jabavu. Then we moved over to Meadowlands. So I'm a township girl.
Wow.
at Joburg. So I am an admitted attorney. I went through Wits University, obtained my different qualifications, ended up being admitted as a lawyer, gone into legal practice. And you know, as you grow up as an individual, I think you change, you evolve as a person. And from the introduction that you've given, you can already tell I've touched so many facets of different professions as the person, you know. But I didn't start off as a lawyer. I started off as a public prosecutor, by the way.
Oh,
And down
wow.
the court, you know, that's where I learned how to litigate as a lawyer. It was purely criminal litigation. I think I did well for myself then in the magistrates court in Portia, and I got promoted and I became a state advocate of the High Court, is what you've mentioned. I was in the street for a number of years, prosecuted hardcore criminals. I think I was great at it. I must say that. Put behind bars a lot of elements that we don't want in society. And I realized when I was there that actually I needed more. I didn't just want to be a prosecutor, even though I was doing that great. I was an admitted attorney, because remember, when you go to law school, you just plan to be a lawyer, right? And that initial plan. But I did not get the chance immediately after law school to get to do my articles. So I do prosecution instead, and that was the opportunity that I got at that point in time. So I grabbed the opportunity with both hands, and it was an amazing opportunity as well. You know, sharpened my thought process, your thinking. You always have to think on your feet in the courtroom. You're always facing an opponent who's always thinking they're smarter than you. You always have to come with your angle. You present your case, and it's a huge responsibility, because as but you always have to persuade the person who's sitting on the bench, you know, to accept your facts. But it always rotates around how best you've presented your case, and of the facts that you've got before court. There's always this amazing intellectual challenge that happens in the courtroom, at least in my time. And I think that's what I enjoyed the best. And there were so many life lessons to take out of that. But going into practice, I think I transitioned from, you know, the director of public prosecutions into the state attorney's office. That's where I started practicing, and I was a lawyer representing a number of public legal departments, of course, because it's a state institution. And I arrived there as a seasoned litigator, you know, very confident, because the prosecution experience had sharpened my litigation skills. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. I was never scared to take any case to court, any case that was credible to be presented before the court. And I think I actually won most of my cases, to be honest.
Wow, amazing. Amazing.
Most
Yeah.
by my opponents, whoever they were. So that's the feedback.
You know what comes to my mind now? I'm wondering, you know, I'm looking at you, a woman for that matter, you know,
Yeah.
with that kind of career. I know it must have been very challenging,
Yeah.
you know, even though you had these qualities of, you know, being strong, being, you know, being able to stand up for what you were, you know, believing for and what you were called for. But I'm sure there were challenges as a woman.
As a woman,
Hey.
not only did I work in the state attorney's office, mind you, I was always this person who's looking for more and more and more challenge, you know.
Mm.
Things felt more routine. I wanted a different challenge. So I moved out of the state attorney's office because we were just focused on public, you know, departments, litigating on their behalf. And, you know, I wanted something more. I wanted to get into corporate law and other types of law, and expand my, you know, my knowledge base, you know,
Right.
as a lawyer. So I went and joined a firm in Hyde Park that was known as Kutse van Rensburg. I'm not sure if they're still there. And it was quite interesting to get there. It was a very niche corporate law firm with 3 partners. I was the associate. I did most of the work. It was an amazing thing and an amazing experience to be in that law firm.
Yeah.
It had its own challenges. I was the only Black associate within the firm. So you always have dynamics to juggle. But you know, for me, all the time, I've always been driven from a point of I want more experience. You know, out as much as I can out of this particular environment, no matter what type of an environment it is. There must be some to take out of that. You know, it's with its own angle from an expertise perspective. And I transitioned again into Flaxman's Attorneys, a bigger law firm. I want more exposure, and I got into Flaxman's, and I practiced competition law. So there was competition law and there was commercial law as well. So, but in those environments, to your question, you always challenged as a person, as a woman, from a point of view that, you know, for myself personally, I'm very family oriented, you know. They are highly driven environments. You are a highly driven person, yes, but you always want a balance between your professional life and your personal life. And the family aspect for me was the most important aspect at that particular point in time at Flaxman's. I had a young child, and now I'm just introducing myself to you now as a mother. I had a young child, a young boy at the particular point in time, in a highly driven environment with high expectations. When you are a lawyer, you need to understand that you are selling time. I used to put it that way. You are selling time. You're selling your expertise, but you're selling time. You know, the more time you spend with your customers, with your clients, on the advisory that you are providing, you actually billing more and more, and that translates into how you are valued within the firm, right? So you sort of want to, you know, be in a space where you want to choose what is important for you. More hours in the office, more time, more billing, or is it going to be my family? And I think I had that choice, the hard choice to make.
How were you able to balance that, though?
It was hard. It was very difficult because you spend less and less time with your family than you are at the office. You know, and there's this constant yearning to want to move because it's a very hierarchical environment. You want candidate attorney to associate to senior associate to partner, junior partner, senior partner. So you want to go through these levels, and that's you know, to get to that highest level of the environment,
right?
And that's the drive, you know. So for me, it was different at that time. I felt it was a bit too much for me. I needed to spend more time with my son, who was ailing, by the way. I was introduced into a very harsh type of motherhood. My son today is a 26-year-old with an intellectual disability, operates at the age level of around about 10-year-old. So he had aggressive epileptic episodes at the time. So I couldn't spend more and more time in the office. I was
Mm.
with him.
Yeah.
Well, and that had started anyway when I was prosecuting, when I was in the state attorney. It was always existing because he started with his epilepsy when he was a year old. So that has been my life. So having to juggle the both
Mm,
environments,
mm, mm, mm,
and
mm, mm.
you never attain, you know, an equilibrium in terms of that.
Right,
There are always
right, right.
interests in any way.
Mm,
But you just need to find the format that really works for you, um, so that you can be successful.
mm. Now, during that challenging season of your life, I can imagine how hard that must have been for you. You
Yeah,
know, dealing with the complications that you had to go through with your child as a mother, and having to, you know, build your career and having this drive
yeah.
to climb, you know, those hierarchies. Was there ever a time, though, in your life where you felt like you want to give up your career to focus on your family and on raising your child, who was at that time really having such high complications?
That was not an option for me. You know,
Right.
just knew
Sure.
that in my circumstance, that was never going to be an option.
Mm. Mm.
The, it's a story of continuous resilience in my life,
Sure. Sure.
because by the time I got into the professional world, remember, I had already started the journey with Ayanda, my son, while I was in varsity.
Mm.
I had
Mm.
this boy as a student at Wits University. Uh,
Sure.
when I was facing my final year of study, for my
Mm.
at that time. And quitting was never an option. I knew even back then that quitting is not an option. If I'm
Mm.
myself in a better position than where my parents were, and give this young life the best opportunity and possibility
Nice.
in life, quitting was
Yeah.
never going to be an option. You know,
Mm.
I knew even back then that he was going to require medical attention, expensive medical bills. As a from birth, he had done about 3 operations.
Ah, sure.
So it was a terrible state of affairs. So quitting was never an option.
That's not an
I,
option.
I needed to be resilient, to be focused, um, and just stand in the midst of that adversity that was happening around me. And that
Mm. 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 Mm.
it's
Mm.
about taking those courageous decisions that you know that are going to put you in good stead
Sure.
in
Sure.
in the
Yeah. Mm.
yeah.
Mm. I really applaud you for having such a sober mind to make such a decision during that time, that challenging season of your life. Because I've realized that as women, there's so many challenges that we go through, and sometimes you can feel like you are under so much pressure to have to choose between
Yeah,
your dreams and also the things that you are going through. It's like you become torn between
yeah, yeah,
a rock and a hard place, and you don't know what to do. And I've realized that there are so many women who have dreams, and they end up giving up on those dreams because
correct.
of the pressures of life that
Yeah,
they go through. That's why I'm saying I applaud you for the level of wisdom, tenacity, and
yeah,
strength that
yeah,
you had, to know how to make the right decision at that time, as
yeah,
challenging as it was,
yeah,
you know? as
Yeah.
challenging as it, and to think that you were still very young. It's not like you were, at a very mature age, but you are still young, but still be able to see beyond the challenges that you are going through and make a decision that will also, benefit you in the future and your son. What can you say to women who are going through maybe certain challenges? It may not be the same challenge that you go through, but they're going through challenges in their lives and having massive dreams that they're pursuing, and they find themselves in situations where they don't know what to do because of these challenges and the dreams that they want to pursue, and they find themselves in a state of pressure where they feel pressured by what they
Mm.
are going through, and they just don't seem to know what to do. What will you say to them based on the experience that you went through?
You know what? I know that it's varied in terms of, the curveballs that can be thrown at us. But I would encourage
Mm,
really to stay the course, because that's exactly what I have done,
yeah.
And for me, is that, like, stay the course, don't lose your sanity in the midst of your adversity. Um,
Mm,
focused and committed to your dreams,
right.
as long
Right.
as you find those goals for yourself, what you want to achieve, what you want to attain, you just need to stay the course.
Mm,
You are bigger than just the obstacle that you see in front of you. And
yeah.
and my book speaks to that as well, just to,
Okay.
in the midst of challenges, in the midst of adversity, to just have the knowledge that we are just bigger than the obstacle in front, you know,
Mm,
be able
mm,
to recognize ourselves and put ourselves in the center of our lives,
mm,
irrespective of that particular obstacle. And
mm.
that's exactly what I had done.
Sure. And you have no regrets.
I have no regrets. Definitely,
Yeah.
I have no regrets
Sure.
about
Sure.
decisions that, and really it's about that, because at the end of all of that, you're just going to be faced with the same life, your own life, and the fact
Mm,
to carry on with your life.
true.
So
True. True.
pursued those dreams that you had defined for yourselves and those goals, then what? You know,
Mm,
then
mm,
your suffering never ends. In actual fact, you will be perpetuating your suffering through your life cycle. In actual
sure.
fact, I knew
Sure.
that was never going to be me.
Mm, mm. Now, you are married, right?
I am married to my childhood
Yeah.
sweetheart. Uh,
So, how supportive was he? Supportive throughout your journey from the beginning? Like,
Absolutely, 100%. And
wow, you are blessed.
that,
You are
that
really blessed.
is I said, to have the man that I have. His name is Kulegani, uh,
Mm,
my childhood sweetheart. Uh,
sure.
we have sailed the stormy seas together. Absolutely proud with the support that
My goodness.
I've had.
Wow. Wow.
I
Wow.
met-
Wow.
I was turning 17. He was 19 years old. We're still in high school. And it's been an amazing ride with my husband. He's been backing me 100%, and
Sure.
not be where I am if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for his family.
Mm,
That particular support structure was a divine blessing for me to be
mm.
achieved. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can imagine. I can
Yeah.
imagine. Such support structures are very crucial in our lives,
Correct.
especially as women,
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you will not be able to make it through such challenges without a supportive husband, supportive family around you. And I
Yeah.
think, like I say, you've been blessed really to have a man like that in your life, and even your family to be supportive of your dreams, supportive of even helping you through the challenges that you go through, in your career. Now,
Yeah.
before we get into the book, just briefly, um, on your bio, you said you practiced as a compliance professional in the banking sector for the past 14 years. How was that like?
I'm
And
still
how
there.
did that?
I'm
Oh, you're
still there.
still there. Oh,
Yeah.
you're still there.
That,
Take us through that.
yes, that has been another transition of mine. Very interesting. You know, and I just love the fact about my life that nothing, if you look at it, um, nothing was planned in
Mm,
in the manner that it has happened for me.
sure,
You know,
sure.
you one moment you study to become a lawyer, now you're a public prosecutor, now then you
Wow,
go
amazing. Yeah.
law, and getting out of Fluxmans, taking that decision to pull out. I had to reflect on myself and what I wanted to do.
Mm,
Um, it was such a difficult process to go through at that point in time because I really didn't know what else I would do with myself if I'm not a lawyer. That was
mm,
what I knew was possible for me. So I went and took some time out at home and thought about what is it that I wanted to do. And the first inclination was I was going to set up my own law firm in practice.
mm, mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm,
no client base, nothing.
mm, mm, mm.
Probably I was outing. I didn't know what I was thinking. I was going
Sure.
to, and but I was not good at starting my own business from scratch at that point. So I really felt challenged by that.
Mm,
And then started looking at what could be the other what could be the other option, what could be the other option. And the idea was I don't have to go to practice, but I could be a legal advisor somewhere because I know I'm good
mm,
at it. Could be a legal advisor.
mm.
And luckily there was a position at the Bond Exchange of South Africa. They were looking for a legal advisor, right?
Sure. Yeah. Hey.
So, and that introduced me into the financial services industry,
Mm,
based in Melrose Arc, and I looked at this job spec. They're looking for an admitted attorney. I ticked that box, ticked all the boxes, but I did not know anything about the bond market, right?
mm, mm,
But I was confident enough to go for that interview. I applied for the job. I went in, and the biggest lesson for me in that process was that sometimes we doubt ourselves and our case
mm,
for no
mm,
reason,
mm, mm.
because when you are actually invited into an interview process, already that company has got the confidence that you can do the job, actually.
Right, right.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
they wouldn't invest the time in you. They would give you
Mm,
any airtime if
hmm.
they think there was something interesting about you from your CV.
True, true.
And in my approach, that as women, as people, when we approach and we are given the opportunity to present ourselves, for anything, you just need to prepare yourself and be at your best.
Mm,
I came out of that interview, I actually recognized that it was not just at my best. It was just about being authentic as a person
wow,
and
wow.
yourself as honest as you can in that interview process, and tell the people I was outright. I was very forthright to them. I presented myself. This is who I am. This is the background that I have. This is the experience that I have behind me as an attorney. This is what I've done, etc. And I believe that I'm the candidate. But
Wow.
I put it out there to them that I do know. I don't know anything about the bond market. I tried to research it and get an understanding, but I couldn't understand what is a bond other than my mortgage. And there was a chuckle in the and I think that's exactly what put me in good stead in that interview.
You're honest.
When
Yeah.
you're honest about your abilities, you don't
Mm,
oversell thing. You just give them what you have and allow them to make the best decision of their lives, you know.
Right. Right.
And I think they made the best decision. I was the best candidate.
Wow.
And I'm sure I was competing with other candidates who were far much better than me from an expertise perspective in terms of the market itself. But I knew I said to them, I'm going to read the rules. It's just about the interpretation of the rules, because that was my job. I was going to be part of the market regulations team at the exchange. I was responsible for the execution of the regulations of the bond exchange to members of it in actual fact. You know, and I think what was valuable in terms of that experience was just to be given the opportunity and to be given the autonomy in the environment to execute on your best possible way,
Yes.
and coupled with the fact that you have a supportive boss in the midst of all of that, you know. So that was super helpful. I managed to establish the whole network of compliance officers at the bond exchange, because
Wow.
we were always initiating some workshops around the rules of the bond exchange. What do they mean? To eliminate the noise in the system, where compliance officers, there was a flux of queries around what does this rule mean, you know, always use with interpretation and this and that. So the workshops actually alleviated that burden. We were actually creating what I call regulatory certainty, you know, on us relation in relation to the participants that were linked to us as an exchange, as a self organization. So it was quite super awesome, that journey. And what was equally awesome was the fact that as I sat there, I was always envious of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Oh, I wonder
Wow.
on the other side.
Right.
But God intervened for me there in his own way. And
Mm.
the JSE proposed a merger. It was a takeover, actually, of the big bond exchange. So we went over to the JSE. I didn't even have to apply. So
Wow. Listen to that.
listen to that. So there was an amalgamation. I was no longer just in the bond markets. I was now looking at regulation across the various markets of the JSE, you know, implement
Yo.
the directives of the JSE, sending out market notices, etc., doing the whole publication process on the JSE regulations. So cutting across various you know, markets of the JSE, the bond market, the interest rate and currency markets, the derivative markets rules and regulations. And that gave me a good flair of an understanding of JSE regulations, to a point that I got poached by Nedbank to be the head of their global markets compliance. So that's why I ended. So
Wow.
they wanted somebody with expertise on the JSE regulations to look after the dealing room activities.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's
Sure. Quite an
yeah,
interesting journey. Quite an interesting and man, amazing journey. Amazing journey, I must say. Yo, you are just blessed with a great career. I'm telling you, it's like the blessing of the Lord is just upon your career, and God's favor has just been navigating your path. You know?
absolutely exactly. And it's not that you are not challenged. There's always noise around 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 you. But God's mercy and grace just,
Yeah.
you know, calms the storms, that
Mm.
carry on focused, and
Sure. Sure.
whatever opportunity gets presented, you just embrace it with both hands.
Step out in faith, and
It-
embrace it.
and you embrace it, and actually you give it all your best.
Mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm.
it's always about, if you get the opportunity, make the best out of it. You know,
Right, right, right,
invest
right.
yourself fully in the opportunity to derive the true benefits out of that.
Mm, mm.
Always,
Powerful words of wisdom right there. Powerful words, very
yeah,
profound. Yeah, yeah. Let's get to the book. Before we end this interview, we need to get to this very interesting book, the very first book that you have written, my dear.
yeah.
Very
First,
first one. First
as
time author.
yeah. So I've
How
been.
did that come about? How did you decide?
It's really about what we've already touched on. You go through your life experience. You've got all this noise around you, all these obstacles, all these challenges that you're constantly navigating. And,
Mm,
and one of my obstacles was a toxic relationship that I've had with my own mother in all of,
mm-hmm.
and looking at that as a very essential pillar of what should have been my source of support, you know,
Sure, sure.
and and not looking at the toxicity of the relationship in relation to my mother, but also in my professional career in relation to other managers who've that
Mm,
I did not have so much of a good relationship with, and it this book was really around the reflection of that, you know,
okay.
the lessons learned out of those types of relationships. Because remember, when
Mm.
we're challenged and we have obstacles on our way of progress, we always want to focus on the obstacle. That's why,
Yes, yeah. I'm not doing this because, you
yeah,
come up with
yeah,
all these excuses
this
why you cannot become what you're
exactly.
supposed to be because of what you went through.
This person is my red block, so this is my roadblock, so I can't
Right.
attain the things that I wanted. They are not supporting me. They are distracting me. I can't do the. I can't. So,
Mhm.
but for me, the book really has been about reflecting on those types of relationships, those types of obstacles, and saying, how do I share my story in such a way that it can benefit others? You know,
Mm.
that I was making earlier to say, to enable people to see themselves beyond the actual obstacle, and
Right.
to build this resiliency that enables them to actually achieve what is it that they wanted to achieve in the first place, irrespective of the noise around them.
Mhm, mhm,
You know?
mhm. I hear you. Yeah.
And for me, letting go of the negativity around you was the biggest
Sure.
part,
Wow.
right? You need to
Wow.
let go. Um,
Mm.
they say snap out of it, but for me, I was like, it's a transitional process. It's a concerted,
Mm.
it's a commitment to yourself. It has
Sure,
nothing
sure.
has nothing to do with the person who's offending you, and
Mm.
your own commitment to self. When you've got this concerted effort around you and
Mm.
how you build your life, how you want to achieve the things that you set your mind to, and to
Mm.
say, whatever the noise around me, that doesn't matter. But
Hmm.
once I've gone through that experience, I need to take a pause and say, what have I learned from these
Mm.
experiences,
Mm.
and what do I want to do with those lessons? And that's what the book is about.
Phew,
So
phew,
that
phew. Yeah.
talks to, it's not about Portia wanting a rent on her mother, and it's really about, it's a how to book. That's how I want to
How to
position.
maneuver through these
How
challenges and, deal with them in such a way that they do not hinder you from
Yes,
becoming, you know?
100%, you know,
Wow.
and getting a clear understanding of what is self-serving rather than what is defeating, what cripples you
Mm.
as a person,
Mhm.
you know. So
Mm.
bury the hatchet
I
is
love that. I love the title, I must say. It's a very catchy, interesting.
Yeah,
Title, Bury the Hatchet. Bury the
yeah,
hatchet. And I'm sure most of the people don't know what it really means to
yes,
bury the hatchet. And
that,
how
that,
did you even come up with
with,
that, you know?
I
Yeah.
mean,
How did
it,
you name that book?
it's a type. It's from an English idiom. It's
Yeah.
about really making peace with your
Oh,
circumstances. You want to make peace,
wow.
and you want
Okay.
to
Okay.
go. It's about letting go. The book could have been a simple "let go," right? But I want
Right.
a
Right.
catchy type of a title, and use it as a proper illustration of me putting away,
Yeah.
illustration of burying something that is a
Mm,
distraction. And
mm,
and for me, it was
mm, mm,
as the resentment that I carried throughout the relationship with my mother. I was an angry child, you know.
mm,
So
mm,
it was a proper, the title itself is a proper symbol of cessation of hostilities that existed between
mm.
myself and in that particular
Sure.
relationship. I
Mm,
wanted to put anger now, put it away
mm,
and transition into the world of a new order, that
mm,
opportunity to heal as a child, as a mother, and for me that healing phase entailed the whole godly process of forgiveness. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so the book talks about peace, it talks about healing, it talks about the process to forgiveness. And
Mm,
I think it's a how-to book, how you navigate all of that, and
mm,
that
mm.
put yourself in good stead to,
Sure.
to move forward. It was quite an important transition for me as a mother. You know,
Mm,
say
mm,
today, um, uh, I need to be whole. I need to make sure that all the things that I resented in that particular relationship with my own mother are not going to
mm.
translate in any way, shape, or form into the
Yeah.
relationship that I have with my three children. By the way, Ayanda is not my own,
Mm.
two daughters.
Okay.
As
Mm, mm,
so there's dynamics. You're raising a son, there's two daughters. You constantly have to navigate that parenting journey in a very delicate way, because you are raising different and unique individuals,
mm,
and,
mm, mm.
and you also have your unique personality.
Right,
Um,
right.
there's issues of generational gaps, and I think those are the aspects of parenting that I was touching on. But before I finish off, in terms of the title itself, for me, I mean, it's been a process, that made me, go thinking about, if you want to start a new beginning, there has to be an ending of something
Mm.
that has been,
Something.
yeah,
Right.
bothering
Mm.
you for a long time. um, and you quickly realize from that statement that, and for the new beginning, there must be an ending of the old
Sure,
order.
sure, sure,
You
sure.
know,
You know what I'm reminded of? You know that scripture Paul says, one thing I do, I
yeah,
forget about what lies behind the past, and
yeah,
I press on
yeah,
towards the mark of the high calling. It means he was saying, in order for me to press on to, to get hold of this future, what God has in store for me, I need to forget about my past. That's one thing I need to do. Yeah.
absolutely,
If I'm going to embrace this new thing, this new journey that is
yeah,
ahead of me. Yeah.
yeah. So I do acknowledge at the same time, Naomi, that while you say that, I've spoken to a number of friends and people who say, I can't forget my bad experience. I'm
Yeah. Mm.
propagating for people to just forget about it, right?
Right.
It's hard to
Right.
forget about it.
It's
It's got
yes, it's not easy.
it's
Mm,
got to be part of your experience. It's always
mm,
part of your life.
mm,
It's always be part of your experience, but it should not impact you the same way that it used to impact you in the past.
Yes, sure.
And it can't impact you the same way. And that's exactly what the book is talking to say, because experiences are very immortal. You can't kill the experience, something bad that has happened to you. But, we just need to understand that an ending finishes with the beginning. That change is very paradoxical, right? It's very paradoxical. So, and it's a choice that you make to say, this is what I choose. I choose me first. I put in the center of my life because it's just me who's important. I'm putting me on the driver's seat, and I'm going to navigate this life the best way.
Sure. Powerful. Powerful.
And forgiveness, talking to the aspect of, I am not going to allow perpetually this other person who's hurt me to be in control of my emotions, to be in control of, and just knowing and getting the clarity in your mind that forgiveness is the one aspect that closes, that finishes the entire cycle.
Not easy, but I mean, if you really want to be free, it's very necessary.
It's very necessary.
Yeah.
It's very necessary to it. So so I think that's what the book is talking about. That's what it's actually about. Yeah.
But how has it been received since it's been released?
There's been a lot of excitement around it, and I think I'm enjoying more. I mean, from my friends, certainly, my family, and everyone wants a copy. So I've been selling copies, even for myself personally, directly. Book sales at Exclusive Books as well. On the day of the launch, the 6th of April, I think it was an amazing experience. Everyone who was at the launch actually grabbed a copy of the book.
Goodness. Is it not difficult though to get your book in those big platforms like Exclusive Bookstore? I've always wondered whenever I pass that store, I'm like, I'm wondering how challenging it is for our, especially our Black people, our Black women in particular, to have their books be sold in those big platforms.
They do. I mean, I've attended a number of launches because now it's become my regular routine to do that as a new author.
Right.
So, I mean, I think Zamaputi Publishers, my publishers, made it possible for me to do it.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. You are very smart and with your first book, you found a publisher that would make sure that, they do a good job making sure that, they put it in the right platforms, so that everybody can have access for that. So lastly, you say it's at Exclusive Bookstore, and where else can people find it if they need the book?
Take a Lot, Bag and Books, Video Bag, and many other stores, I suppose. So it is available nationwide. Yeah.
Nationwide. Yeah. And also, last but not least, are you available for bookings as well? Speaking engagements?
The book is really positioning my other passion, which is, motivational speaking.
Sure.
And in my church, I've already begun that. I've launched a ministry around forgiveness, which is so much excitement and supported by my ministry. So that's what I want to do. And, to actually use my experience to benefit others and extend myself beyond myself to other people and give. I'm hoping, to open an NPO to provide access to different people who are struggling in a manner that I have, to just have access to a network of social workers, psychologists,
Mm,
etc.
mm,
Um,
mm.
yeah, so it can be just of benefit to others as much as I can.
Right, right. Wow. You are such a fascinating woman. You are just absolutely amazing. And it's been such a great pleasure and honor to have you on this platform. You've been an inspiration, and I believe so many women have been inspired actually by your story, your journey in your career, and even this book that you have written. And I'm sure they would love to get hold of this book. As you said, they can get it in exclusive bookstore and other platforms nationwide that you've mentioned, and you're
Yeah.
available also for speaking. Where can they get hold of you though if they need you for speaking engagements?
They can get on my handle is Portia _N _TWALA. I'm on Facebook,
Mm.
and they can get hold of me on my mobile. It's 083 208 9390.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sis Posh. It's been such a pleasure having you on this platform. And our prayer is that God will continue to expand your territory, continue to bless your new journey as an author. I trust that this is not the only book that we'll be getting from you. We're going to be getting more and more books from you. We'll continue to follow you. And should you bring another book, make sure you let us know so that we can also, introduce it again on this platform. But all the best with your journey, and may your book be a blessing and a life-changing experience to many who will be reading it. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. May God bless you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thanks a lot to your listeners as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay
Bye-bye.
blessed. Eh? Bye.
Bye.
That was Portia TWALA, our guest our guest author for today. What a power packed woman indeed! An attorney, an advocate. She's been an advocate at state high court, and also playing a lot of different roles as a leader and as a woman of inspiration. I trust that you've been inspired by her story and the book that she has written. That's where we end it for today. Until next time, this is me, Naomi Wesi, saying, may the Lord bless you, may the Lord keep you, may he cause his face to shine upon you and give you peace. Till we meet again tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on Africa USA Radio. Shalom.